we'd like to move his to number 4 under Stephanie. We'd like to add number 2 under Travis, football field work. And under number 1, if we could add the sports complex after, at the end of our meeting there with the joint meeting. I will take up.
Where was that?
Number 1 under Travis should change to add the sports complex. And he would like to add number 2, football field. And there's also some lettering issues, so C1 will be D, C2 will be E, C3 will be F, C4 will be G.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
I believe that's it. No, Mayor Champ. So look for a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to adopt the agenda with those changes.
Second?
Second.
Counselor Halverson? Counselor Bolton? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No, motion passes. Pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Any public participation?
See none.
None. Okay. Council reports. Start with you, Councilor Halverson.
Good evening. Couple of things. Stephanie, Bridget, and I at the Discovery Center regarding the LCC MR grant application that they've submitted to the state. And they probably won't hear about results on that till January when the legislature comes back in session. Also attended IROC meeting last night with Bridget. Discussion about Bridget, and that's all I have for tonight.
Thank you. Councilor Ball?
We do not have a
Report.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Lucky.
The only thing that I will mention is you're going to start to see a lot of information come out about the referendum to the school district. Their social media campaign and informational campaign is starting this week. So just be on the lookout for lots and lots of information. Thanks.
Thank you. For myself, attended Kids Day a couple weeks ago with the fire department, ambulance, and everybody else that was down there. So that was a very beautiful day. Good showing with the community coming out. I'd like to thank Lloyd Show, Patrick Pope, and Chief Masusi for what they did with the fire department apparatus and the little trial run that we had set up with them. The kids seemed to love it. So thank you all very much. Also last weekend, the fire department worked with a live burn on a house that was donated. I won't steal any of that information if Chief Masusi wants to share some of it. That's all I have. Ambulance Director, Jess Davis, absent. Fire Chief. Chris, how are you doing tonight?
Good, thanks, Owens.
Excellent.
Well, welcome to fall, everybody. Nice seeing everybody. As Councilor Lyons mentioned, we participated in the Kiwanis Kids Day. It's always fun, anything with the kids. It's fun. We were gonna have a time trial and stuff, but we didn't have to. They just went to the obstacle course that we set up and had a great time. On the 15th, we had electrical vehicle safety training in Mount Iron at the Lake County Power Building. We went over different types of electric vehicles that are out there nowadays, the proper way to shut down, disable electricity on them when they're in a crash, extrication, how to go about cutting them up, and the battery fires, which pose a big problem if they do start a fire, because it takes a lot of water to put these batteries out. Even up to weeks they can reignite. So, but it's a lot of information. It's a 4-hour training. There's over 100 participants. It was excellent. So they're not as scary as people think they are, as far as, for us to do things with them if they get in vehicle accidents. So, a lot of good information there. And then Councilor Lance touched on the house burn. Very good training. Went off without a hitch. It was perfect weather. The mist and the rain helped a lot, actually. I'd like to thank Jess and her crew, or the 2 gals that were out there for the rehab for the departments. Thank Fresh Fire Department for their help with the water supply and also participating in the house burn. We can't, get better training what those houses provide for us. And that's to better ourselves for the community and do our jobs better. So that is all I have. Any questions?
Thank you, Chief.
Yep.
Police chief, absent tonight. Building official, Andy. No report. City engineer.
No reports.
Johnson,
Yeah,
no report.
Get a reprieve tonight.
Public Works, Larry.
Quick report. I wanted to update everyone that we started the 15-mile-an-hour school zone in the Bond area today. We have some gas made in fiber, 3 different fiber companies in there, so it's gonna be a slow, tedious hand-dig process. But you'll start to see those signs come in shortly. And then we continue to make our switch into the winter months and fall. And Hibbing Taconite, we've been talking about that for quite a while now. They are hooked up to our water system, to a valve that's now theirs, just on the other side of ours. And within a couple weeks, we anticipate supplying them with potable water. So we're looking forward to that. And then more to come, but our friends there, of course, at Hibbing Taconite donated a bunch of road material to us. That is waste to them, but valuable to us. So City of Chisholm doesn't have a gravel pit, we don't have a borrow pit, so we buy and bring in everything we use. So it's very valuable to us. So we appreciate that, and we're gonna work with them on that and into the future. And official thank you and stuff to come once we get some value and stuff, so, yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you, Larry. Quick question, I'm gonna throw it out there and I should ask Jim too. Hopefully the rainy season's behind us. We obviously had some issues down with, flooding and flowage. Are we looking at anything as far as, are we hoping that that just goes away, or is there a way that we can try to read and see if we need to upgrade our culverts and our waste for that? I just don't want to go under the radar and just get forgotten.
Yeah, no, we're working on it always, yeah, so.
Thank you.
I can recommend too.
Yep, and Jim even just handed out some information about paving some alleys and stuff, so.
Okay.
Yep, continue to work towards that, absolutely.
Thank you.
We did some camera work. Marty was able to review some of our 42-inch storm sewers and stuff, and they're clean, and so, we really, those 250-year, 500-year storms, we don't need any more of them, so.
Thank you.
Yep.
Got to look at those videos one more time and I'll have a short report on it. Council, good review, everybody. Work with those guys.
Thank you. City Parks Trails Rec Director, Bridget, how are you doing this evening?
Good evening, thank you. I'm well, hope everybody else is. Let's see how fast I can go, because this is a fast night of updates. Yesterday, Carrie Kylan hiked her 1,000 miles at Redhead, which was pretty incredible. That's a lot of miles, and she compared it to hiking to Memphis. So keep your eye out on KBJR. There should be an article in the DNT. You might have already seen the Mesabi Tribune coverage of it, but that brought some positive news to Redhead and hiking, and I think hiking is a great use of the trail, so let's keep that up. The MCA race that comes in October, preparations are going well. I am looking for volunteers for parking. If anybody wants to help with that, touch base with me, and the public is welcome to contact me about helping with parking. For Redhead, we are prepared to reach out and connect with local businesses. If they want to sell Redhead merchandise, they can now do that. So I'll be connecting with some businesses who've shown interest in the past, but spread the word about that. Everybody is welcome to sell Redhead merchandise. We have kind of a strategy and how to approach that. Let's see, the skate park overlay that was just approved at the last meeting, that's weather dependent now, so it might get pushed out to next year. I'll cross my fingers that we have no, the winter does not come early, but I don't want to call it something that is inappropriate. But So I'm hoping that can happen, but it'll happen next year, if not the end of this year. Youth Center, some kids are showing up, not enough, so we want pre-pandemic numbers, so spread the word that the Youth Center's open. They are making announcements at the school as far as I'm aware, because I've asked for that. There will be a Halloween party, date to be determined, because we don't want to overlap with another big local Halloween party. So we're waiting to find out from a couple organizations when theirs is, and then we'll get it set. And on Halloween, I'll pass out candy for kids when they do the downtown thing on Halloween. 3 teams for flag football. I was just out there this afternoon and it was really competitive. Holy cow. The parents were totally coaching from the sidelines and I was amazed at like the energy of parents and the youth running on the field. The Parks Trails Rec Board next week meets and we're going to do a parks tour as our meeting to determine capital needs and to relook at the 10-year capital needs plan and do some priority adjusting if need be, but look at maybe some of the items that are missing from that list that we need to get in there. And then lights on Longyear, solar lights are going up, so those are starting now. And so when you're walking Longyear in the evening, you'll see more lights, which will be great. That's it, unless you have any questions.
A lot going on.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. City Library Supervisor.
No report this evening.
No city attorney, city clerk treasurer. Good evening, Annie.
Good evening, members of council. Always nice to see you all. Just a couple of things to share with you regarding the election calendar. On September 23rd, absentee voting began, and it continues through November 7th. So just to keep that in mind, you can come stop by City Hall if you'd like to cast an absentee ballot. Also, at the end of October, we'll need to publish some notices of the public accuracy test that takes place before November 8th's general election. And the general election is on Tuesday, November 8th. So just wanted to mention that. And then also today, we had the opportunity to meet with Susie Rupert. She's the senior coordinator for Northeast Service Cooperative, who provides medical benefits. So employees had an opportunity to meet her, engage with her, ask her questions about the benefits. So it was a good day. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
City administrator.
Just one quick thing I want the council to be aware of. So as you know, it's budget season. We've been working diligently on the budget and we're creating a grants committee. So kind of focusing on what areas we can look for grant opportunities. We've been reaching out. Eileen's been working with an organization that updates us on what grants. Larry's going to be going to a workshop next week that's concentrated on grant funding. So we're really doing a push for that to get some bigger projects done. So just so you know that.
Good stuff. Thank you very much. Consent agenda. This is a list of bills, communications from July 2022 library board meeting minutes, August 2nd, 2022 police commission minutes, August 18th, 2022 HRA minutes of previous city council meetings, September 14th regular meeting, September 20th working session, payroll and overtime. A couple of notes on here. It was brought to my attention and I noticed a couple. So the communications from the other boards. I'm not sure, obviously we probably don't have a lot of oversight in there, but it was brought to my attention on the HRA minutes that it's noted in there that Chris Erickson is absent, but it says that he voted in there multiple times. So I think we should request our council representative to reach out to them and ask them to clean up their minutes before they approve them. And it was also noted that, you know, there is no notes of what the public participation comments are. And again, I think we should ask our council representative to, ask their secretary to put some notes in there so we know what, people are trying to address.
Says here he was present. Oh, down here absent, I see, okay, got it.
And then on September 14th, regular meeting, Counselor Fulton had made note that it should say at the very end, see, so that is page 11, where it talks about, this was the HRA complaint, talking about the reminder letter of our policies, expectations for boards, commissions, council members. She would like to add that she had noted, and employees in there. And then on
Page 11.
page 11, HRA complaint.
City employees?
City employees, yes.
Okay.
And just a note on page 13 that Councilor Fulton is noted as absent, but she did arrive late at about 7 p.m. We did go about 8:30 in the evening. So I'll look for a motion to approve the consent agenda with those additions or changes and the notes to Council Representative Mayor Ciampa.
Motion.
Councilor Baki.
Support?
Councilor Halverson, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And motion passes. No unfinished business, so let's move to new business. Stephanie. Taking up Vern over again. Move that to the bottom. So we're going to skip to Katie.
All right. Good evening, everyone. On page 20 of your packet, resolution number 0922-88, we have a $100 donation from Steve Ritter to be earmarked for the Chisholm Library. So just a thank you to Steve and looking to adopt the resolution.
Make that motion.
People?
Support.
Thank you, Travis. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
All right. And the next item, I would like to request from the council that the Chisholm Public Library move to a fine-free status. This is currently being done within our region. There's 24 libraries that are already fine-free within the system. There's been a lot of studies done on this, and basically the goal of moving to a fine-free library would be to remove barriers for our patrons. Having fines in the library is not a great source of revenue, and every librarian that I've talked to, I've done a lot of research on it and have reached out to directors that have made this decision for their library, and there's just nothing but positive feedback. So I'm hoping that I get the support tonight to move to fine-free. And just for a little bit more clarification what that actually entails. So if a book is actually lost at the library, that would be something that a patron would still have to pay for to replace. So these are just fees that are associated with books being brought back after their due dates, and it would only be for Chisholm items. So a lot of times we have patrons that request books from other libraries, and those libraries have their own parameters around fines, so we would not be waiving fines from other libraries, it would be only our items, if that makes sense.
To me.
Yeah.
Everybody's doing it now.
Yeah, it's great. It's really, everybody's moving towards this direction. So if they haven't already, I would assume in the very near future it's going to be happening.
Okay. For a motion.
I'd like to make that motion.
Thank you, April.
Support.
Thank you, Travis. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Awesome.
Passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. Is that great news?
Eileen. Good evening, thank you.
Council members, regarding this informational presentation regarding the 2022 budget amendment notifications. This is something that we launched last year. I don't know if you recall. It's just very important that council is aware of any modifications or adjustments that we make to the budget. Overall, in this particular case, as far as the departments that are presented to you tonight, has a zero effect on all of the expenses within the same budget. So that's why it's informational. It doesn't affect the entire budget as a whole. So before you, I provided some letters that show you exactly what GL accounts are affected, the dollar amounts each is affected by, and a general description of why we're doing that. And this was a result of meeting with each of the department heads in each of these departments, having a conversation, going over their financials for their department and making decisions about what would be best for the remainder of the year. So I just wanted to present that to you and answer any questions. If you have any for those departments, I believe the department heads are here, except Jess.
Any questions?
No question, this is pretty fantastic though, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it is.
This is really good stuff, so thank you for doing that.
Great. We anticipate probably doing one more before the end of the year. We try to keep it to a minimum, right? Because if we're doing it too often, that means we're not doing a good job of budgeting. So we'll probably do one more before the end of the year.
I just have a question. So we're just basically moving money around, just adjusting the journal entries.
Correct.
Okay.
The biggest things that support why we're doing this is because of fuel costs, gasoline, diesel, also natural gas. Is it propane or natural gas? Yeah, a great increase in that. And then you'll see, I think in all of the departments, we reduced dollar amounts in workers' compensation because we pay the premium once a year. So it's done. Any budget dollars left over we can use. So those were the primary accounts that were affected. Thank you. You're welcome. I think there isn't anything else we need to do on that. All right, truth and taxation, public hearing date and certification. We're required to do this and we submit a form to the county, our intentions of that particular date and time for that meeting. And I believe I got the first council meeting date correct in December, is that right? The 14th?
Yes.
Okay. I just make council to...
I'll make that motion to schedule a public hearing at 6:01 p.m. on the night of the regular scheduled council meeting on Wednesday, December 14th.
Thank you, April.
Support.
Travis? Further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
Okay, thank you. Okay, on to the 2023 proposed city tax levy. You should have received a document that shows general fund and permanent improvement fund revenues and expenses. One of the tools that I wanted to provide each of you tonight was to take a look at where we're performing currently. And so I wanted to see if there would be any carryover funds available to include in our fiscal year 2023 budget. But I did find an issue with property taxes applied in the revenue accounts that I needed to review more closely. So I didn't want to provide you information that wasn't correct. So I did provide that resource for you tonight. But as you can see at the bottom of the list, there's some summarizations. Sorry, excuse me. And you can see I have $0 under the carry forward amount. I'm not even going to try and estimate or project any carry forward dollars at this point. I think we should just be conservative. And we'll be okay. I think we'll be fine. So at the bottom, you can see the general fund 101. We're actually, revenues exceed expenses by $167,000 approximately, which supports our discussion that we had, was it last week that we met and talked about it? But as you can see, under the Permanent Improvement Fund 401, we're at 1.2 million. And this includes the 5th Street Southeast project that Jim provided me information on. A projected $200,000 of alleys work, project work, and then the crack sealing and seal coating program. So they total 1.392 million approximately, and we have a projected 179,600 in revenues under the Permanent Improvement Fund. So that's what brings us to that 1.212 approximate million. And what I tried to do was, at the bottom, I apologize, this is what we followed in the past. We had this little summarization on our budgets in the past. So I just brought it because I thought maybe council would want to see that, because that's how you base your decisions about, you know, what levy you want to set, and gives you the full picture of how much money we'll need to draw from our reserves. And that's exactly what saving reductions means. That's what the unmet need represents.
I do just want to add to that, Eileen, that
Sure.
we haven't had the time to look for additional funding specifically on the 5th Street project, so that will reflect that. And we're looking at some alternative options other than coming out of Porta 1. And so it will reflect it, but we wanted the council to be aware that we are hoping to be able to move that project forward, but we are looking for additional funding, realizing that 1.45 is not coming out of general fund, that we will be looking for other options for that project. But those are the big ones that, if we are going to be doing that, those would be the ones.
Okay. Thank you very much for this, Eileen.
Question for both Steph and Eileen, for the public safety building, do we have any estimate yet of how much savings reduction we would be needing to?
1.5.
1.5, okay.
And that was the projection too of what we think is reasonable. And then the loan would be probably 1.5 also. Obviously depending on where it gets committed, but that's.
We have 3.5.
We have 1.9 from state bonding, and we have 3.5 from federal monies, and we have projection 800,000 from RCY. And then we also have about 200 or a little bit more from American Rescue Funds.
Yes.
So rough numbers, 6.5.
Projecting like 8.5 to 9 million dollars. Yep. That's the projection, that's what I'm hoping comes in the bids.
Yeah, and that's reflected in our 2022 budget.
Okay, council. So now we're tasked with proposed city levy. Keep in mind the fiscal disparities that we have coming. It's going to be a very tough year for a lot of taxpayers in every community.
Yeah, just to remind you, the fiscal disparities revenue amount that I have incorporated in here is in general fund, and it's at $601. And I arrived at that dollar amount by looking at how much the city has collected over the last 3 years. Because the reports I receive include information on the general fund, bonded indebtedness, as well as the airport. So it shows all of that money. And that $380, I believe, $1,000 that's going to be reduced is all inclusive. So it does include the airport's distribution. So I took a look at how much we've collected, right? That's what matters, right? We want to see how much money we've been distributed. And based on that amount, I multiply, we collect about 76% of the total amount that's represented by the county, which includes the general fund, bonded indebtedness, and the airport. They put us all in one pot. So the 780 that was communicated, that we're going from one, I can't remember the 1.2 million or 1.1 million that we're supposed to receive this year, is reduced to 780 projected next year. So I took 76% of the 780, and that calculated to 601. Because that's our portion that we're actually going to collect. And that's represented in the revenues in the general fund. So we are incorporating that reduction.
601 that you were
Correct.
calculating, 611,000 is 76% of the 70.
Approximately.
Okay, cool.
But we all saw Mayor Champa's letter, saw what other communities are doing around us. What are your folks' feelings? And personally, knowing everything that's going on, obviously the airport's got work going on, we have work going on, like, I could have set it at 0 instead of forget it, and then try to live within our budget. I don't think that's exactly responsible or feasible. But we should set it at 5%, and then we can lower or stay the same.
I would have to agree with that, 5%.
Marty?
We can always go down, but of course, what you say initially gets a lot of attention from everybody. You know, I think higher is safer for us financially, but with, you know, people already seeing an increase in their assessed value of their homes, and the excellent job our staff has done to rein in our budget. Yeah, I could see 5. 10's nice, but I think 10 might be a bit much. You can always dial it back, we can dial it back to 0 if you want to, eventually by the end of the year, if we know what kind of shape we're going to be in financially, but that's...
Yeah,
What do you think, guys?
I agree with you. I mean, obviously, our goal is to get to as low as we possibly can, but again, if we set it too low, you're stuck at the same time, and who knows what could pop up between now and, you know, so I guess, you know, I did read Mayor Champa's letter, and,
Everything, nobody can get home.
oh, forgot to talk into the mic, sorry. Is this better? All right. So I did read Mayor Champa's letter. I am of the thought process that, you know, you don't want to set it too low initially because you never know what's going to happen. So I would agree with Mayor Champa. I think we should set it at 10 and hope to go below 5 would be our goal. But again, I just like to be safe. And everyone knowing that our goal is to get to 0. Can we get there? I don't know. That's just my thoughts.
Well, it's up to you three. We'll make a motion.
Well, I would like to make a motion for 5%.
Thank you, Councilor Bowden. Is there any support for that? For a second? Call for a third? Motion fails. Somebody else like to try again?
I guess, Adam, I can motion for 7%.
Councilor Halverson. Is there a second for that?
I'll support.
Councilor Rocky? motion to set the initial levy at 7%. Obviously, we're going to try to get that down as soon as we can. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Charlie.
Thank you.
Administrator Scraba, we're gonna jump back to Vern. That's number 5, sorry. Select Committee for Public Safety Building RFP.
So as we all know, the RFP for construction manager at risk is out there. The proposals are due on Friday at noon. I have had some additional questions, so that's positive. And then on page 31 of your packet, it has the outline, timeline, which can be adjusted, but this was what was in the RFP. We'll bring this to close to that. And what we need to do tonight is appoint the selection committee for this project. To note, I did put in the RFP the committee that has been working thus far on the project, which would be Councilor Lamb, Mayor Champa, Councilor Halverson, Chief Manner, Chief Masuski, Jess Davis, Maggie Galley, Jim Johnson, and sorry. And Larry Post, and myself. That's who's historically has been attending the meetings to this point, just for your reference. Our hope is to have a firm selected by the first meeting in October.
Is that right? So since I'm not been on the public safety committee, I will make a motion that the 9 people that's listed are that committee that reviews the RFP.
And anybody else that they see? Maybe the attorney or?
Well, he doesn't have a vote. Well, I
Pretty good,
don't
yeah.
think you would, right?
Maybe, right?
Nah.
Well, I'll second that.
Councilor Baki, Councilor Colton. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Northern Wireless Space Lease Agreement.
In your packet, there's a lease agreement for Northern Wireless. This is basically some housekeeping. They have some equipment in City Hall. I wanted to make sure we had a lease agreement with them for protection of both sides. So I worked with Attorney Lindsay to draft this lease agreement, and I have also sent it to Northern Wireless. There is a short letter also on your desk that was from Kent Forsman, who's the owner of Northern Wireless. They're looking for approval on the lease agreement. We can have that in writing.
Thank you very much. Give everyone a chance to look at that.
This is we have this with everybody who has an antenna up on our tower, or,
On the water tower?
oh, sorry, yeah. I mean, this is pretty standard stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty, yeah, so they have some equipment upstairs, and then they have one,
Okay.
I don't know, those are both.
Okay.
What does that mean?
Okay.
So we would like to approve the contract?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for, yeah, approval.
Look for a motion to approve that lease agreement.
Make a motion to approve.
Thank you, Councilor Halverson.
Support.
Councilor Baki. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Special meeting in the Township of Vulcan for the fire protection agreement on Monday, October 24th.
This is our annual meeting with Vulcan Township. This year contracts up our fire protection and EMS services. And we're looking to meet up Monday, October 24th at 6 o'clock at Vulcan Town Hall. following their meeting.
For a motion to approve that,
I'll make that motion.
Counselor Foden,
Support?
Counselor Halverson, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Now we'll get to burn.
The chamber is having their trick or treat and pet parade again this year on Lake Street, October 28th. They're looking to close down Lake Street from 2:30 to 7 o'clock for both events. They will happen both during that time frame. And so they're just looking for approval to close down Lake Street, which would be right off of 73, the keyword there is Road Strip. So it wouldn't affect the highway.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, April.
Support.
Thank you, Travis. Further discussion?
Thank you, Shannon.
Yeah, thank you, Shannon. Very fun night.
And
On-
Larry.
And Larry.
Drew.
What was the date, time?
28, 2:30 to 7 p.m.
Yeah.
Friday, October 28th. It's a Friday, right?
Page 16,
Oh, I missed it, thank you.
or 17 in the back.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, under Mayor Champa and myself, schedule a special meeting to discuss 3rd Street project.
Thank you so much.
So I imagine we probably want to do this before the next council meeting. Next week is busy. Could we do, well, if we did October 11th in the afternoon, there's also the meeting with St. Louis County up in Ely. So we could talk about that in the evening also.
Yeah. What can you start?
I want to look and see if we can set a meeting here.
October 11th is firms interviewed. Never mind. So we could do the 13th. Or do we want to look towards the week of the 17th? How about Tuesday, October 18th at 6 o'clock? Or 5 o'clock?
Should be okay with me. October 18th.
What works best for everybody else, 5 or 6 or 5:30?
We're earlier.
April can be here at 5:15. Right, April
Oh,
is
so 5:30.
5:15.
So 5:30 works best for you then?
I can be a little bit late. Whatever works best for you. But yeah, 5:15.
5:15.
Is that cool?
Looking for a motion to schedule a meeting, special meeting to discuss their street project and, get back to what is that, the meeting with St. Louis County, IRRB, what do we want to call that? Discuss the project in Chisholm.
That's on the 11th, right?
Yep.
It's on the 11th.
We can discuss it at a special meeting.
Oh, yeah, we can add that to it, though, so we
Yep.
can discuss what we came out. Yeah, okay. You're okay with that. Susan, did you get that?
Can you repeat exactly what you
October
were calling?
18th at 5:30, we're going to discuss our meeting with St. Louis County, IRRB, regarding the Central Building.
And the 3rd Street.
And
In
3rd Street.
addition to 3rd Street.
Yeah.
And you said 5:30?
Yep.
Thank you.
Look for a motion.
I'll make make the motion for October 18th, 5:30, special meeting for Third Street project and the St. Louis County electric discussion.
Second.
Marty, thank you, April. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Counselor Radke, schedule a joint meeting in conjunction with the school board regarding facilities, referendum, and the sports complex.
Yeah, keep your calendars out. Another meeting. Yes, so I attended the school board meeting on Monday, and I informed them that I felt it was in the best interest of the school as well as the city that the school board and the city council have a joint meeting to discuss the referendum. And the reason, my main reasoning for that is because obviously it's an election year, and that question is going to become more and more popular about what does it involve, are you supporting it? And I think that it's best that we all have the same information so that there's not misinformation being said to people who ask questions. I know that the plan is to have Ingenza there as well, who's the firm who's kind of overseeing the referendum, and I've come up with the figures and the numbers, and so it will be good to have them there so questions can be answered. But I just, I've been contacted by a couple of community members who have said, I'm hearing this, and we're hearing this, and it's like, well, I think we just need to meet and all get on the same page. And I'm not going to sit and try and convince anyone to vote one way or another, but you just need to make sure that we all, as elected officials, have the same information, so that if community members ask us, we can give them the correct information. So that is for the referendum. In addition to that, when I was talking to Stephanie about it, we also talked about the football field, which is a topic that I'm going to talk about next, but we still haven't approved or not approved the $15,000 offer that the school gave us for last year's sports complex contract. And so we need to include the sports complex as part of this discussion. Plus there's a land swap, other things too, so. Yeah. So the school district gave me a date, and I don't know that it's gonna work, but the date that they proposed, they asked me to bring forward was on the 12th, which is right before our meeting, at 4 o'clock. October 12th at 4 o'clock.
Do you think it'll work for them?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, we could
Or just try it?
try and see, and just pace ourselves.
Can we stop while we're walking?
Yeah,
I think the sooner the better to meet.
I agree. Especially because you're gonna see a lot of information come out here in the short order, so.
So it's 4 o'clock, did you say?
Yeah, I mean, we could make it 3:30, school's out by then, if we need to.
We meet up at the school.
At the school, in the library where we met the last time. Yeah, that's what their proposal was.
Yeah, let's try for 3:30, and then if anyone comes late, we can always fill somebody in after. At least it gives people time to at least get there and assemble. If we start at 4, we're not starting until a quarter after.
Yep,
Would you guys be able to fill me in?
absolutely.
Thank you.
Bet you we can record it.
Yep, I'm sure.
Is that a motion, Counselor Watkey?
Sure, that's a motion. 3:30, October 12th, at the Chisholm Elementary Library.
Is it in elementary or is it the one that's up at the gymnasium, that library?
It's with the flagpole in front of the school.
Okay.
Yeah, at the elementary.
For a second?
Support?
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, yeah, my last item. So I was having a conversation with Adrian and Mike Verdeen, who's our maintenance supervisor, and we were talking about the referendum and potentials, and we got on the topic of the football field. And, you know, Coach Milani has really done a heck of a job to rebuild that program to really good numbers. And one of the things that I've always wanted to address, especially when I took the job, was the football field. And so, you know, what the football field right now is opposite of what it should be. And that's why it always gets damaged when it rains, it gets muddy when it's wet. And so what we'd like to do, if we can get our ducks in a row, big if we can get our ducks in a row, we want to make sure that the city is okay if we try and recrown the field, the football field. So basically that would be, so it like goes like this so it drains better. But we would dig up the field, we would reseed it, things of that nature. It's not school property at this time, so we need city approval to do that. I did become aware that because it's city property, city staff, AKA Larry, would have to be there supervising, I think. Correct? Or somebody would be.
You need someone, like a surveyor, to set your elevations just exactly right.
Yeah,
So-
like I said,
So they're not,
we got ducks to put in a row.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe you'll do that. I'll recruit everybody. But anyway, if we could get our ducks in a row, like I said, we know the best time to do it is right after the football season, to get it done, let it sit over winter, you know, let the grass grow in the spring. And I just want to make sure that the city's okay with us doing that if we get our ducks in a row.
who's gonna do the work and pay for the work, is that?
Well, so we're hoping to get a lot of in-kind done for that, but, so Adrian's been reaching out to some people and Mike has some contacts, and I don't expect there to be any cost for the city except for if Larry has to be there and we do it on a weekend. Then I guess there would be a small.
He just has to he just has to supervise the project. He doesn't have to physically be at the site at all times or anything like that. It's just, yeah.
So, yeah, I don't anticipate there being an additional cost to the city.
A good example, I think you can still see it at the original Mount Aaron High School field, the one by the old downtown school. That field still has like a massive crown in it.
Yeah.
From way back when.
Right.
And that field's always in good shape. It drains well. So it's important.
Yeah.
You really got a good field, you stand on the sideline, you can actually see it. It's higher in the middle and drops off the other side.
Yeah.
So it should be very visually obvious. And maybe that field originally had it, but over the years it's maybe settled or just maybe never had much of it.
Yeah, I guess I don't know.
But it's all right, good drainage is super critical
It's bad.
for performance.
Does
Yeah.
that affect the track?
We'd have to leave the track and kind of go up from there towards the middle and then back down, or have a drainage area on the perimeter somehow.
Right. Well, and the crown is not the whole football field, it's more the center,
Center toward the
you know,
sideline.
and then, yeah, so.
There's
So
actually
I-
catch basins on the inside of that track
Yeah, that's right, I think there are, so.
that just got to be built when we built the track a few years ago. And I think we maybe have a topo of that football field that's about 5 or 6 years old, about the time the track was beat done. I don't know that for sure, but I will check.
But yeah, we should have the surveyor there with the GPS or a level.
Yeah, they're gonna have, this is the existing topo mark,
Yeah,
so they'll
yeah.
have to set up a plan.
Set those grades properly.
Right.
And there are probably standards, I think there probably is a standard for counting a football field.
Oh, yeah.
Somewhere, you know,
Yeah.
tells you
Yeah,
a foot higher in the middle or whatever the number is.
right. Yeah, and like I said, and we understand that we have a lot of ducks in a row to get in place in short order, but if we can do it, we'd like to do it.
You have to be hauling in material, so you have to get trucks and
Yeah.
excavators and dozers and
Yep. Yeah, we'll be working, obviously we'll work closely
If
with.
there is a topo gym and we have an idea what's gonna be, we can do a rough estimate on how many yards of fill would be needed and
I imagine they've got to strip the sod off, but that's.
peel it off.
Waste.
Maybe reuse some of it, but it's hard to reuse.
Yeah, it's more efficient probably just to haul it away, skin that top couple inches off of
Unless you
sod.
can kind of
Then we can
till it and put it back and then they put a layer of topsoil and
ground
seed over
it and see how
that.
much additional material we need.
Because it's got the organics, it should grow good, but you don't want it all lumpy either.
Well, it may be the case that the material Larry's getting from Hintac may work well for us, maybe even rototill that in.
Oh,
If it's good material, granular and/or blacktop, it can be rototilled in.
it's crushed taconite, it's gonna be.
I think this is Larry here?
Yeah.
Larry, is it topsoil or is it?
No, it's tails.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Forget that.
There's killings. It's not drained well, but you have to put good topsoil layer over it to get anything to grow on it. As you know, that's where you may want to save that. If it's taconite, then you better put all that topsoil back over it and retill it and add more topsoil or else it's not going to grow, but it will drain well.
Well, I support it, I support the school and I support.
So do we need a motion saying that we're okay with this? Okay. I too would support any work that anyone wants to help on.
Guys, good support it. If Travis, you could maybe come forward with kind of a plan.
Yeah, for sure.
Who's going to step up to help volunteer to do this? It sounds like it's kind of a volunteer project. That's just kind of
Yeah, we'll,
community donation from some
Right.
local contractors.
yeah, that's what it'll be, yeah. Like Schweitze is someone that I know, so, talk to him about the seed for the field. And it won't be until like the first week in November if we do it, if we get our ducks in a row. So yes, I will definitely at a council meeting lay it out if we get our ducks in a row.
So I think we should be looking for a motion to allow the school to perform work on the football field with a plan brought forward beforehand.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, April.
Second.
Marty, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Miscellaneous, anything else to bring up? No? So we'd be looking for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn this record time meeting.
Record time.
Not quite. The last one you did, I think, was the record.
Pretty close.
So you're,
It's that tangent between engineers, I thought we were just gonna keep.
well, that's why you ran over.
Right. Alright, motion by Councilor Baki. Thank you, April, all in favor? Aye. Take everyone home, have a good night.
Have you got first place and second place?
Like a little kid that sits up on the same game.